Hi there everyone, and welcome back to the table once again. I'm going to be bringing you a new series this time to replace my old unboxing series that I am no longer able to keep up and running. This series is going to be a different kind of unboxing video. I'm going to be unboxing a new game that I'm going to be featuring that week, and I'm going to be showing you all the different components of that game so that you get a bit of an introduction on how the game sort of operates before we jump into the tutorial proper. This is going to be a great way for you to get a first-hand look of a game before we dive into the more technical aspects of it. And what better game to start with than Ryan Lockett and Red Raven Games' Above and Below. Don't be intimidated by the amount of components you see in front of you. The game is actually very straightforward when you deconstruct it, which we will get into in the next video. So you might be wondering why I called the video series What I Did. And that is because you get a lot of information just by reading what the box says. So in this case, when we're looking at this game, we can see that it's a game for 2 to 4 players, a game that is played between 60 to 90 minutes, depending on how skilled and how veteran your players are, and more importantly, that it is a city building game around storytelling and exploration. So without further ado, let's dive into the different components and see exactly what we have going on at the table today. Now, you are a villager as part of an old city that got destroyed by barbarians. So you and other villagers have taken it upon yourself to reestablish a new colony, and in order to do so, to attract more villagers to come to your city and help build up its reputation and its strength, you need to build cities above ground, as well as building outposts below ground. So you have to decide in this game whether you want to focus your attention on building above or below, or a combination of the two in order to achieve the highest amount of victory points. So let's take a look at some of the more intricate features of this game. Now, this is going to be the only time that I ever feature the rulebooks in my tutorial videos or anything of that nature, and that is just because no game is really complete without a set of instructions to teach you how to play the game. Next, we have our 2 encounter books. Now, this book right here is actually featuring the Desert Labyrinth and the Underforest, which is actually an expansion that you can buy for Above and Below, and I will not be featuring any of the other expansion parts in this game. If you guys want to see the expansion video, then please let me know down in the comments below, and I will do a separate video about all the expansion components and how they integrate with the base game. But rest assured that there is an expansion for Above and Below, 2 of them really if you want to think of it that way, and all those special encounters are included in this book right here. This, more specifically, is where you're going to be spending the bulk of your game. This is the base encounter book for Above and Below. And this, again, like the expansion, has all of the encounters that you're going to be doing and all of the different risks and rewards that your players are going to be encountering as they explore the depths below. This is the main game board that you're going to be focusing all of your attention on. Located at the top here is going to be where new villagers will emerge at the beginning of every turn. A reputation tracker, which is when you complete certain objectives when you explore, may earn or lose you reputation depending on which path you've chosen, as well as a round marker. Now, the game itself is played over 7 rounds, which can be extended depending on how your players feel about elongating the game. And there's a little moon tracker right here in my hand as well that you can see that actually will track each round as it's being played. Located over here as well is a space to hold the grog or the cider, and this is a special token that allows you to refresh a villager from exhausted to ready without the use of a bed. Along the side of the board here as well is a list of all the different types of resources. So starting from the highest, we have mushrooms. Now this means that mushrooms are the most common resource found in the game, all the way down to the amethysts below, which are the least common. At the start of the game, players will be able to choose their color, and there are 4 main colors to choose from: silver, blue, green, and brown-ish. And this is going to be a place to show where all of your villagers are, what state your villagers are in, whether they are injured, requiring potions to be healed, exhausted, which means that they are simply tired but can be refreshed by use of a bed, or that they are ready to complete an action. The specific actions located at the top of the board here are as follows. You can explore, if you have at least 2 ready villagers. You can harvest by expending 1 villager to go collect a resource from any available town node that you have. You can build a new above town settlement or below ground outpost, provided that you have the space available to do so. And in order to do this action, a villager must have a mallet icon on their character portrait in order to perform that action. You can recruit a villager from any one of the available up along the top of the game board that I indicated earlier, provided that you have a ready villager with a quill symbol on their character portrait. And finally, a general labor task which earns you 1 coin and the grog if it's still up for grabs. Any villager who is ready can complete this task. Also, you'll notice in the top corner here a little symbol with 3+ and the coin symbol on there. And that means that any item that you want that isn't a resource, so basically a potion or a grog at that point, can be put up for sale as a free action during your turn so that players can then bid on whether or not they want to purchase that item that you have for sale. The minimum amount required in order to purchase that item is 3 gold, but you can always set the price a little bit higher depending on how much that service or good is in demand. You'll notice on the bottom of the player board here that there are 8 empty spaces that will be filled up with different resources as you collect them. Everybody starts earning income of 4 gold, and that gets progressively higher as you collect more resources throughout the game. Every player will start with 3 basic villagers, 1 that can build with the mallet symbol, 1 that can recruit additional villagers with the quill symbol, and a generic villager that is basically used for exploration or any other task that you feel that that villager needs to go on in order to help satisfy the rest of your turn. And in order to understand which ones are basic villagers, you will see that they have the above ground hovel on the back of their character portrait. Every player will also start with 7 gold, and there are denominations for 5, 1, and 10. They will gain a color cube that matches the color of the player board that they have chosen, and this marker serves as the way to track your reputation as it increases and decreases throughout the game. Also, your starting hovel, which will be able to rest and refresh a maximum of 3 villagers, and this is the foundation on which your new settlement has begun. Now, beds themselves are going to be very important. As I mentioned, they are required to refresh your villagers unless you are able to acquire the grog. Dice, when rolling for an exploration scenario, as well as when they're actually rolling to complete an objective. Back on this character portrait, you'll notice that there are 2 dice symbols and 2 lantern symbols. Now, lanterns in this case are successes in order to achieve objectives when exploring. These are the various types of resources that you will collect throughout the game, and these can be accumulated either as rewards from exploring or harvesting from specific buildings, and these are also used to score additional victory points at the end of the game, as well as providing you with more income. As I mentioned with the starting villagers, you will also be able to recruit other villagers throughout the game. So this is what the front of the character portrait could look like, but this is what the back of new villagers will always look like. So if ever you need to separate your villagers between standard villagers and specialty villagers, this is the symbol you're looking for. This is an example of a specialty villager that you can acquire through one of the scenarios or a couple of the scenarios when exploring. And in this particular case, this is the Tin Man, who comes with his own bed, but he cannot accept the cider or potion whenever he's injured, and for 1 roll, he gets 2 successes, and for a 4+, he gets 3 successes. He's very, very difficult to get, and he only appears in a couple of scenarios. We have the first player token, of course, which gets passed around at the start of every new round, and this just indicates who gets to take the first action. We have key buildings. Now, every new game of Above and Below will start with only 4 key buildings available, which do not get replenished throughout the game. They're indicated by the key symbol on top of the building icon. So it's a very easy way to distinguish the key buildings from other types of buildings. Just simply look for that key symbol there. Here we have the star buildings. Now, star buildings are always utilized in every single game, and you do use all star buildings. They are always available in every game, and they are indicated by the star above the building icon. Now, these are real high-cost, high-reward cards that can often tip the scales of the balance in your favor when collecting and assessing victory points at the end of the game. So these are a great way to focus your endgame strategy when you're looking to achieve victory. These are your basic buildings, as indicated by a lack of any star or key on them, and these are going to be the settlements and outposts above ground that you will build to help you earn victory points, as well as increase your income and help you gather resources necessary for boosting your income even higher and getting more victory points. We have the below ground outposts, which are helpful for gaining additional abilities and access to new resources that the outposts and settlements above ground can't grant you. Now, the only way that you can actually build these outposts is if you actually have cave space opened by successfully completing objectives when you go exploring. And these are the cave plots that I mentioned just a second ago. And you can see how on this card here, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 with a number beside them. Whenever a player rolls when they go exploring, the first number that they hit is the scenario that is red. And then if they are successful in achieving their objective, then they earn this card to place on beside their character board so that they can start building outposts underground. And there you have it, folks. Perhaps not a very quick rundown of all the different components, but here you get to see all the different little pieces and how they're going to start interacting with each other. So when we jump into the tutorial proper, hopefully this will give you a very good foundation to build off of, so that when we actually start going into the game mechanics, you'll see the different types of terminology that I use to describe the various things that are happening throughout the game. Of course, if you have any questions, or comments, or anything like that, please let me know down in the comment section below, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. I do look forward to seeing you at the table again. Thank you very much for watching, everyone, for subscribing, for following me on my various social media handles, and as always, we'll see you next time.